Hey everybody, Kit Cummings. Welcome back to our series 40 Sermons in 40 Days. Today is day 39. Can't believe it. It's been quite a ride. I appreciate you guys that have checked in. Every day, man, we've got a great group growing. Today, I want to tackle what I feel like is one of the most important subjects in today's world with all this we're going through. And the subject is worry. Think about it. Worry. Have you ever seen a time where there was more worry than there is today? I mean, people are worrying about worrying. You ever felt stuff like that? You realize you're worrying a lot, and all of a sudden you get worried about the fact that you're worried a lot. And then you get worried about the fact that you're worrying about worrying a lot. In today's world, we've made an art form out of worrying. It's a world gone mad. There's so many things to worry about. Worry has become a billion-dollar industry. You think about that. You think about all the products. Sorry, I got kind of jacked up there on my technology. I'm worried about my technology. There's all kind of things. But think about it. Just the pharmaceutical company alone, it's become a huge market. And there's new drugs being produced all the time around worry. Things that will medicate the things that are jacking us up. We're reaching for things outside of us. And so this is a problem that we've got to tackle together. And today we're going to see what Jesus had to say about it. Why is it such a worried world? I think it has a lot to do with technology. We've never been so tapped in to the state of the world and what's going on. I mean, 24/7 news cycles. We've got devices. There's no way you can miss it. Today, if there's a big story, you'll catch it. It'll be Facebook or Twitter, or Fox or CNN or a friend. It's just like chatter produces worry. In this technological world, we've got plenty of ways to avoid things that bother us. When we can avoid things that got us jacked up. There's so many ways in today's world to be distracted. And that's an art form too, the art of distraction. Anything that gets me to focus on what's really eating me. If there's something, if there's a pill, if there's a meal, if there's a game, if there's a app, if there's a book, if there's something that can take me out of right here, right now, and really try to soothe the pain of the worry, man, it's big business. Don't get it twisted. We've got entertainment that has gone wild. I mean, think about the world of entertainment. And why is that business booming? Because we don't want to sit still. And we don't want to have to sit with whatever it is that scares us. Today, if you're looking for a reason to be stressed, you don't got to look very hard. If you're looking for a reason to be offended, just open your Facebook. If you're looking for a reason to be scared, just turn on the news. And it feeds this energy. And here's the deal. Whatever the brain does a lot, it does very, very well. So worry can become a habit. And so that the brain is constantly doing what you've taught it is important to you. So if worry has become a big part of your process, then this device, this brain, this organ has now developed patterns and wired the brain around worrying. And so it unknowingly to you starts to look for evidence of things to be worried about, things that you notice. You remember the reticular activating system we talked about. If you're in the market for a new car, you start seeing that type of car all around you when they were around you yesterday, but the brain was not allowing it in. If we're obsessed with things to worry about, the brain will search for things to worry about. And so we live in this crazy world. I believe the answer is, and Jesus is going to talk about this in just a second, it's the powerful present, the present moment. This world we're living in, people are obsessed with tomorrow. And so there's so much energy that's burnt and wasted today on worrying about what might happen tomorrow, what might not happen tomorrow. Or we're stuck in the past and we're regretting things that happened yesterday or didn't happen yesterday. Things that might happen. We activate this powerful imagination about things that have not even come to be. Think about that. Imagination is a powerful creation tool that God has given us. where we can imagine a scenario that has not yet become, and that is the creation process. But today, are people focused on their dreams? Or are they focused on their nightmares? It is a habit that's got to be broken. And it can be broken like any other habit, but if we don't really tackle it, it will continue to do what it does. And the brain is going to protect habits that you've taught it are very important. And the brain does not judge. And so we're stuck. And Jesus says, do not worry. Think about social media and how that really pours into this problem that we have. We look on there and we see people's pleasure and we see their pain. We see their gains and we see their losses. You know, people put their best days on there and they celebrate and we see it and we admire it. But deep down, maybe we're like, man, maybe everybody's got that and I don't. We see people's pain. People ask for prayer requests. And so you see people's loss in their worst day. We see it and it reminds us of our days. You know, if you're not careful, you compare your insides to everybody else's outsides and you don't measure up. I'm comparing your best day to my everyday, and I don't measure up. And all of that is churning inside. And see, here's the deal. If worrying becomes a habit, whatever's deeply ingrained, the brain pushes down into the subconscious so you can worry about more important stuff. But now that habit is down deep, and you become a worrisome person, and that is exhausting. Are you tired of worrying? Man. This is all of us, man. I mean, I'm preaching myself today because I'll catch myself, and the first step is self-awareness, and I'll catch myself slipping into tomorrow. And before I even know it, my mind has conceived of a scenario that is completely illusion that I've now become obsessed with. It might happen. And this is what we know. 99% of the things that we fear never come to pass. I'll say that again. 99% of the things we fear never come to pass. It is illusion. It's fantasy. Do you meditate? You're like, nah, I ain't into Eastern meditation. Yeah, you do. When you're going throughout your day, meditation is a focus and it's a mind's eye of things that you're fixated on. Worrying is a prayer. Think about that. Worrying is a prayer for bad things to happen. And so worrying is very destructive. We know this. Stress produces cancer. Stress produces heart disease. Stress produces accidental death from distraction. Stress produces suicide. Stress produces rage and violence. Now, I just named all the big killers. Stress. It's the internal struggle that something's not right and it's burning energy and it's hurting our heart. And it's hurting our immune system. It's hurting our relationships. It's hurting our peace. I want to take you back to a day and age. For those that's been around for a minute, remember the 70s? The 70s were a magical time. I was a little boy. 1970, I was 6. By the time I went into the 80s, I was 16. So that time in my life is just so pure. And I think about the TV station, the TV shows we watch, Carol Burnett, yeah, that was pure. What about Leave It to Beaver or Happy Days? Or, it was the goofiest shows, but it's what we had. Laugh In. We had all these crazy, just pure shows. There was no profanity. The adults in some of the shows that we watched when I was a kid, the mom and the dad slept in separate beds. Right? There was no cussing on our music. I remember when the most scandalous music in 1980 was Highway to Hell. And our parents were worried if we were listening to that, evil music. Shoot, put that up against the music of today. It was just a more pure time. Man, we drank out of a water hose. We rode in the back of trucks just with no security. We didn't even wear seat belts. You remember when they didn't even have the lap belt? That was a big deal when they came up with that. They didn't have the unbreakable glass. We were riding in these tanks of iron, and we did all right. We went out, couldn't wait to play. We didn't have any devices to talk to one another. You want to go see your friend? Go find him. To meet a bully, you had to meet him on the playground. For a rumor, had to go mouth to ear, mouth to ear, mouth to ear. It was a simpler time. When do you come home? When the street lights come on, man. And that was hard. When my dad whistled, man, I ran. But I hated giving up playing, man. That was everything. We swang on ropes and swang. we played in the creek and climbed trees and barefoot in the summertime. I mean, it was a simple time. You remember it? Think about today. Now, fast forward, just 40 years. And now all of a sudden we live in this age where we're glued to our technology. Technology is everything. Screens. I mean, everything is screens, devices and laptops and Zoom meetings. And it's just, I mean, it's great. Technology is okay, but it's a less pure time. Back then, there were less things to cause us stress. Now, everything causes us stress. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to live in this world and let the world program our brains? Or are we going to get deliberate? There's a difference in worry and concern. Worry it's unproductive. Concern is about solutions. There's nothing wrong and everything right about being concerned about somebody you love or a situation in your life, financial health, romance, kids, personal righteousness. Concern is good. God is concerned about what's going on. But he ain't worried. Nature is never worried. And that's what Jesus is going to talk about. So we're going to draw from the Sermon on the Mount today and just listen to these words as if you've never heard them before. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? That's a good one. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the lilies of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. You think about Jesus' simple prescription for worry. He doesn't say reach for this, get entertained, avoid it at all costs, stay distracted, don't get quiet, don't sit by yourself, always have music in your ear, always have a screen in front of your face, always be with people, always just, that's the prescription for worry. It's just don't focus on it, it'll go away. Pretend like it's not there. He didn't say that. He said, look around at the way my Father created all these things. You know why you shouldn't worry? Because look at the natural order of things. He says, look at the beautiful creatures of the field. They don't worry. They're not worried about where's my next meal coming from, or what if I don't catch anything today, or what if I starve to death, or what if a predator comes and gets me today. They just live in the powerful present moment, and they're connected to source. How do they do that? He says even the flowers, they don't labor or spin, but look how God adorns them with beauty. See, everything that he created is in this natural rhythm of life, the seasons. Day turns into night and spring moves into summer. Things grow into the spring and then flourish in the summer, are harvested in the fall, and then go to sleep in the winter. And the whole thing just rolls. 14 billion years it's been doing what it does. The universe ain't worried. God ain't worried. The lilies of the field, the creatures of the ground, they're not worried. The oceans are filled with life. They're not worried. It works perfect. As a matter of fact, this pandemic has caused nature to thrive. I mean, look around. It's like in India, 70,000 endangered species turtles crawled up on the beaches where they hadn't been able to come because of humanity coming down there for entertainment. And they reproduced, and in no time, endangered species would come right back if we got out of the way. The Himalayas are now visible for 230 miles. We don't know if this has to do with quarantine, but this big ozone hole that they've been worried about has now magically closed. And it's just amazing. Nature flourishes and never worries. Why? It's always present and it's always trapped in the powerful now. You think about it. How often are you purely present? If you think about it right now, is everything not okay right now? If you're watching this, everything must be okay. You're safe. Nobody's trying to get you. You must have some food in you. Maybe you slept last night. You're in the comfort of your home. You're watching a device. This is okay on the screen. And you don't have any worries in the world. If you think about it, just right now, all is well and always is. In the present moment, there is no worry. How can you worry in the present? Worry has to do with fear. Fear lives in the future. Regret and shame and guilt, it lives in the past. None of that can live in the present. Regret doesn't live in the present. It's fixated on yesterday. Man, fear and worry and dread and panic and the sky is falling, that lives in the future, not right now. In my world, right now, everything is okay. Everything's all right. But if I get out of right now and I start obsessing about what happens if the pandemic, the banking, my business, my livelihood, my family, what if, and we start creating scenarios. Maybe I'm not talking to anybody but me, but this worry thing is dangerous. It's not just a irritating habit. It is killing people. Worry is killing people. So why are we so addicted to drama? Why are we tapping in to find out more things when Jesus says, look at nature, be like them? Why do you worry about what you're going to eat, where you're going to live, what you're going to wear? Your Father knows you need all these things. And if a sparrow doesn't fall to the ground without the Father knowing about it, don't you think he's going to take care of you? And then he says, oh, you of little faith. See, faith and worry are mutually exclusive. When one is present, the other one is absent. When there's faith, there's no worry because it's a knowing. Faith lives in the present, the powerful now. Silence has become a lost art. Just to get silent and to go into a place that's quiet and still the heart. Try it. Talk about meditation. It's powerful. The Bible's filled with meditation scriptures. And if Christians learned how to meditate, oh my gosh, it would unleash a power. Don't be afraid of Eastern teaching. They got some things figured out. Man, you got these Tibetan yogis that go into the Himalayas with nothing but a little sheet on and sit in a cave for months and sit in the same spot and have a sip of water and a few grains of rice for months and sometimes years. They call it a retreat. Well, how in the world could they survive in these sub-zero temperatures? They've powerfully perfected the mind and its ability after years and years and years of practice being still and being quiet. And they can raise their body temperature where there's steam flying off of them. And they won't tell you, but can you imagine where they go in their mind? 6 months in their mind, traveling. There's no telling where they go. But here in the Western world, it is devices. Man, it's hectic schedules. I don't got enough time. I don't got enough money. We've created through worry this illusion of lack. We don't feel like there's enough. There's not enough time. There's not enough things. There's not enough money. There's not enough. I mean, it's a lack mentality. And Jesus is saying, why do you worry? The pagans run after all these things. Don't you get it? The pagans are the ones chasing, hoarding, grabbing, fighting. It's ego. The soul is always present. The ego is trapped in tomorrow and yesterday. The soul fears nothing. The ego is dreadfully afraid of annihilation. The ego is offended easily and wants to get back. The soul forgives naturally. I mean, the soul is this pure place, always present, always now, no worry, no fear, connected to the source, because it's the real God stuff before we started teaching the brain to worry. By constant practice, we've rolled over these scenarios over until they become really real. And then guess what happens? When a story in the head is scary, fight or flight kicks in, and that produces adrenaline. Adrenaline is a powerful drug that allows a lady to lift a car if her baby's under it. It is a powerful drug. Speeds up the heart, raises the temperature, speeds up the energy, cortisol, epinephrine. These stress hormones are produced. The immune system doesn't work right. So during the pandemic, which is causing worry, we're actually putting ourselves at more risk of getting sick. It's the immunity system that it's in overload. Why? We're in a state of fight or flight all the time because the voice in the head is telling horror stories. And we're living this thriller, mystery, suspense, horror when you could be living a comedy, romance, love story where the hero always wins. It's basically the story in the head. So Jesus said, you want to be like the pagans? Chase after all the things that the world worries about. Or do you want to be like the lilies of the field and the beautiful creatures of the forest that are tapped into the source of life, the source of peace? Yesterday we talked about the Prince of Peace and the power that he has. Man, the peace that he gives that surpasses understanding. The peace that he gives, which is a lasting peace. The peace that he gives you, which is not like the world's peace. The world's peace is a drug. God bless you. Medication is a modern miracle. I ain't trying to say that, so don't get mad at me. But I'm saying if you just keep medicating the fruit and don't get to the root, it will remain. And worry will destroy your life. And your kids will learn to worry. Your spouse will develop that habit of worry. And then all of a sudden, my whole life is about how to keep bad things from happening. Why do we want to live keeping bad things from happening when we could live producing dreams if we just stayed present? So today, when you catch yourself in a field of worry, I want you to get present. Just breathe and just say, all is well and always is. And then look for solutions rather than worry. Worry is fruitless. You've got a limited amount of energy today. Imagine that you've got a tank and it's an energy tank and there's a spout in the top and there's a spout going out. Okay, so as you fill the tank, the energy is burned and then it comes out and it's a good flow. So every day you've got an unlimited amount of energy and what you focus it on is going to burn it. Okay, are you going to burn it today with creativity and solutions and finding, answers to your problems? Are you going to burn that valuable energy, which you need so bad? Do you ever feel like you ain't got enough energy? You can't move fast. The lights aren't on and the creativity's not flowing. I can't have an idea. It's because so much energy is being burned on worry and dread and fear. And then we turn on the TV to get some more. And then we reach for the phone to get some more. And then we reach for a drink to get some more. And we're wondering, why are we worried? Because what we focus on expands. If you focus on your worst fears today, they're going to get big. But put God up to your biggest problem. Is God bigger than your problem? Or is your problem bigger than God? You need to talk to him about that, whatever the problem is. So I want to close out with a story. This is someone that I don't know, but I heard about. All right, imagine a guy and his girlfriend on the road hitchhiking back in the day. This has been a minute, a few decades. And they're hitchhiking, and that's all we know. They get picked up and they get arrested because a hitchhiker has committed a heinous crime. And these people were on the road. And so, in a crime like that, there's a lot of pressure to find a solution and an arrest. And these two beautiful young people, they caught a charge and they got a life sentence for the female and a death penalty for the male. And this young man, he sat on death row for 20 years until he was finally exonerated. And DNA evidence proved that he wasn't there and it wasn't him. And after 20 long years, they were set free. And they asked him, they said, how in the world did you get through that incredible time? Can you imagine sitting there and it wasn't you? Your life is taken away and your end is coming. And he said this, man, that little 8x10 cell, it became my cave and I became a guru. And so he learned to go inside to find his peace. And he put up with 20 years until he was finally set free. And when he was set free, he came out sane. I mean, that is a guru. So today, can you go into your quiet place? Can you shut out all the noise? Can you turn off the dang phone, turn off the TV, put the games away, and just spend time in the present powerful moment with silence connected to your God? And as soon as the madness starts going, just bring it back. The powerful now is where peace is. The Prince of Peace, he says, be like nature. Nature is like God. Ego is the false self. If If it's running the show, you're going to be a terribly worried, stressed out person. Don't keep pouring money into drugs and alcohol and self-help and all this when the answer is inside. All we need, we already possess. Tune in for the last one tomorrow, day 40, 40 sermons in 40 days. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you a chance to give a gift. If this has helped you, share it, subscribe to the link. But think about it, pray about it. If this has helped you through the quarantine, I'm going to give you a chance to give a gift so we can help some kids. God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock tomorrow for our 40th installment of 40 Sermons in 40 Days. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Be the peace you wish to see in the world. Out.